everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about the top 3 travel trailer RVs that have no slide rooms in them. Now, most RVers honestly want slides because they give them more living space, and that's a great thing. However, a slide in the sidewall of an RV can cause problems because, you see, it means the factory has to cut a big hole in the side of the RV and then build a separate room that goes in and out of that hole. Now, to accomplish that, they're going to have to create a mechanical system that moves that room in when you're traveling, and then you can put it out when you're camping. All of this creates the possibility of repairs, because when you have moving mechanical parts of any kind, well, things can go wrong with them. But slides also have rubber gaskets that go all around the sides and the top. They're seals to try to seal out the water that could get in that gap between the slide room and the sidewall of the RV. The problem here is that a lot of RV owners really don't maintain their slide seals quite as good as they should, and sometimes not even at all. And believe me, as an RV inspector, I see that quite a bit. So over time, water begins to penetrate. And when it does, a lot of times it's not even noticed, but eventually it does big damage. And then people blame the slide room, but in many cases it's actually the owner that just didn't stay up with the kind of maintenance that they should. On top of all of this, there are some RV manufacturers out there that are so focused on the bottom line and making their RVs as cheap as they possibly can that they use the wrong slide mechanism for the size slide that they're putting in the RV. What I mean is this: there are certain slide mechanisms or systems that are good to be used on lighter weights, like a bedroom drawer, like a bed going in and out, things along that line. And there are other systems that are best used for the really heavy slides, like the ones usually found in the living room area. The problem is that there's some of these manufacturers out there that want to build the RV as cheap as they can, and they use those lighter weight slide mechanisms on bigger slides. I've even seen them on super slides in RVs, you know, the kind that go almost all the way down the side of the RV. So what happens? Well, it can't keep up with that kind of weight. Sooner or later, the slide room is going to fail. And when it does, it's going to be very expensive to fix. So these are all issues that can come about with slide rooms in RVs. And let me say this: even if a slide room is maintained properly by the owner, and even if it is properly matched to the size of the slide room that it's moving, well, things can still go wrong with slide rooms. Again, it's moving parts, and moving parts tend to break at times. And some folks have heard horror stories online from other RV owners, and they're legitimate. All these problems that people have had with some slide rooms. And as a result, these folks, when they go to buy their RV, well, they've just decided they don't want any of those problems. And I understand where they're coming from. They are willing to put up with less living space in the RV so that they don't have to deal with slide repairs and issues and problems. So the question is this: are there manufacturers of travel trailers these days that make their RVs without slides in them? No slide travel trailers. The answer is yes. And this video is going to cover 3 of the best brands that you can choose that make that kind of travel trailer with no slides in it. Now, let me say this first of all. I'm not going to include any fiberglass shell builders here, because when you make a fiberglass shell for the top and the bottom and you put it together, you pretty much eliminate the possibility of a slide room there. But I'm only going to be covering brands that make more conventional type RVs. You know what I'm talking about. They have the two walls on the side, the front cap and the end cap, and then the roof goes on the top. Also, I'm going to include one brand from 3 different cost ranges. Now, a lot of people don't understand that. When they look at my top 3 lists of RVs, they think I should just go to the top and focus on the very best brands out there. Well, that would be interesting, but it wouldn't be usable by a lot of people. So what I choose to do instead is choose a representative brand from the high end, one from the mid-range cost, and then one from the lower cost as well. I feel it's just more fair to do it that way. So let's start at the high end. And the manufacturer I'm going to recommend there is Airstream. You cannot get a slide room in an Airstream travel trailer. They don't make it. Now, they did at one time, interestingly. For a while, they put some slide rooms in their travel trailers. You can see them around at times. But they did it for a while and just decided, it's just not worth it, and they stopped. Now, honestly, it is one reason, there's a lot more, but it's one reason why Airstreams last as long as they do, last a lifetime. One of the things is because you don't have the issues with any slide rooms going in and out. Now, the great thing about Airstream is that because they are built by aluminum materials and so on, they're very light. So they can be pulled by a wide range of tow vehicles, and a lot of people really like that. But when we're talking cost, they're definitely on the high end. You know, I'm not really covering the smaller ones like the Base Camp. I'm talking about those that are for 2 people or more, and those are going to start with an MSRP somewhere around $80,000, and the cost can go all the way up to $175,000 or more. So clearly, Airstream is in the higher end of the travel trailer category. But let me say this, if you want a great travel trailer and you don't want slides, and you can afford it, consider Airstream. Number 2 on my list is in the mid-range cost area, and that's going to be Amber. Now, they make various types of travel trailers, but we're going to focus on the Overland version. And the Overland is really made not only for staying in campgrounds and RV parks, but it's very capable of going off-road as well. They build 2 without slides at 22 feet long. That's the 190 MDB and the 190 MSL. The gross vehicle weight rating, or the most that travel trailer should weigh going down the road to be safe, is around 4,500 pounds. And that puts it well within the category of a lot of SUVs and pickup trucks. But Amber also makes a larger travel trailer without slides in it, and that is the 28-foot 240 TKR. But the gross vehicle weight rating goes up. It's around 10,000 pounds, so you're going to need a beefier tow vehicle to pull it. Now, the MSRP for these particular models is that it starts around $57,000 for the 2 smaller units that I mentioned, and it goes up around $75,000 for the larger 240 TKR. That, again, is more affordable for a lot of people, and you're not quite up there in the Airstream territory. Finally, let's cover the lower cost section of the travel trailer category, and here I'm going to recommend the Winnebago Micro Mini. They make 3 floor plans that have no slide rooms in them in the Micro Mini. There's 2 smaller ones that are bunkhouse models, the 1700 BH and the 1800 BH. They're 20 feet in length. But they also make a 22-footer. That's the 1720 FB, and it's very usable by couples as well. Now, the gross vehicle weight rating here is right around 4,200 pounds for the 2 smaller bunkhouse models. And that's really towable by a lot of vehicles. And really, though, the larger one is only 5,500 pounds GVWR. So again, you can tow that with SUVs, pickup trucks, and so on. And the MSRP, well, here's the great news. We're down around $35,000 for these travel trailers from Winnebago. Well, there's lots more no-slide travel trailers that I could recommend for you. These are not the only brands that I can recommend building no-slide travel trailers, and they're not the only models either. I have created a guidebook on new travel trailers and buying them to help you know which brands are building better products than other brands. And in that guidebook, there's plenty more brands to choose from, plenty more no-slide travel trailers that you can choose. What I recommend is use that guidebook along with my new RV buying guide. And if you put those 2 together, you'll be able to get the right brand at the right price. You'll get a fully functional RV, and you get my assistance to answer any questions as you go. So I definitely recommend getting those guidebooks. I think they'll be very helpful for you if you're in the market for a no-slide travel trailer. And I hope this video is going to get you started in the right direction, finding the better brands and the better models of no-slide travel trailers that will take you on many great adventures in your RV in the years to come. And that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.